Welcome back to Bravo Breaking News. I am your host, Kim, back to recap this week's episode of The Valley. Yes, I am flying solo this week. Lisa is on vacation, but I just had to come on here and talk about finally some joy that is coming out of this show. I mean, we got to watch Kristen Doty finally get her happy ending. I mean, we have been following this woman's life for the past, 11, 12 years now. And last night, I'm not going to lie, guys, I was crying. I was crying during that proposal scene. I could not be happier for her. I also have so many thoughts on the whole Aaron and Jesse drama. And of course, Janet's reaction to everything. So I'm going to break it all down. But before I do, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more Bravo breaking news. Okay, so this week's episode starts off. They are all having dinner in Maui. Kristen and Luke are running a little late to dinner, but once they get there, she kind of starts talking about how basically Nia got an apology from Janet, but Kristen has not. At this point in the trip, Janet and Kristen have not spoken. Now, we skipped our recap last week, so I do want to talk about that apology in the pool from Janet. So you mean to tell me that Janet is allowed to say, "Oh, I actually had too much to drink and did something that I shouldn't have during that time, and I apologize." Yet nobody else is allowed to do something that they apologize for when they had too much to drink. It is such a double standard to me. And also the fact that Nia gets an apology, but Kristen doesn't, and Janet refuses to even speak to Kristen at this point. I just think it is such a double standard, and Nia is being such the bigger person in this moment. She could have thrown that back in Janet's face. I know she said, "Oh, that early in the night?" Like that's definitely a burn in Nia's book. She could have gone so much harder, guys. I wish she would have. You will literally never make me hate Nia and Danny. I don't know what they could do for me to not be on their side, but definitely in this situation, I continue to stand behind them 100%. So at the end of this dinner, we actually find out what happens after the cliffhanger from last week's episode, which is this conversation between Aaron and Jesse. Or should I say Ramona eyes? Like, I cannot look at Aaron without thinking of Ramona walking down that runway. It is just like etched into my mind. Also, Mary Cosby eyes, whatever you want to call them, he has them. And it's actually very distracting to take him seriously or like listen to the conversation without having this thought. But anyway, dinner's over, everybody gets up. But Jesse actually asks Aaron to stay back and sit down and have a conversation with him. Now, I thought that this was actually going to go sideways. I was scared of what was going to happen. At least that's what the cliffhanger was trying to make us think. The first point that Jesse brings up, I think, is a valid one because for whatever reason, actually, Isabella got to spend Father's Day not with her father, but with Aaron and Michelle. I'm not really sure, they have some sort of arrangement, obviously, but how she ended up being able to get her on Father's Day doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And the fact that Aaron was posting with Isabella on Father's Day. Sorry, guys, I'm with Jesse on this one. I think this is completely inappropriate. Not only are Aaron and Michelle not even living together, they are not married. He is not her stepfather. But even if he was, that is such a slap in the face to her father, who is very much a part of her life. It sounds like Aaron realized this, took the photo down, but I don't know, guys. I'm Team Jesse on this one. If you want to do something with my daughter, if you have questions about my daughter, please call and ask me before you do it. Now, he shares later in the episode, like even if him and Aaron are on good terms, him and Michelle never will be. So even if Aaron's like, "Oh, is this going to be okay with Jesse? I need to call him." Michelle's going to be like, "F Jesse." Like, that's not going to happen. So I get it. It does put Jesse in this weird position, but I think it is good that they can move forward and actually be on good terms because they finally cleared the air about the whole cheating thing. Whether you believe it or not, I don't know. Let's get into it. So Jesse asks Aaron whether there was anything going on between them prior to her breaking it off with Jesse, emotional, physical, etc. Aaron says that there were only 2 instances where, they would run into each other when they got coffee. And then there was some, like, he was selling his honey at Runyon Canyon. So those are actually kind of the two red flags that Jesse had pointed out previously, that why was she always going to Runyon? Why was she wearing makeup to Runyon? Why was his honey in their cabinet for 2 years prior to them actually meeting? So I don't know if I believe this. Let me know if you guys do. I don't know. They seem to be very steadfast in that nothing was going on. And Michelle has admitted that she has cheated. She kissed somebody prior to her and Jesse breaking up. At this point, I think I've said this before. Why would Michelle continue to lie about this? Maybe it will affect how the divorce plays out, but I don't know. At this point, I feel like she would just come out and say it. So I tend to believe Michelle on this one, though I'm still a little bit unclear. At the end of the day, it definitely seems like these two guys are going to figure out a way to kind of work it out and be on good terms. And I think that's actually very, very mature of both of them. Like, once again, we got a teaser that basically it was all going to blow up during this trip between Aaron and Jesse. Why is Aaron coming on this trip with Jesse? But at the end of the day, it seems like they can get along better than Michelle and Jesse. And I think that that's good for the future with Isabella and everything. So I'm actually glad to see it. So everyone retreats back to their hotel rooms. We see them wake up. And we get this flashback of Luke having an absolute breakdown. Once again, why are the editors trying to clickbait us? This was a huge scene in the trailer for the entire season, yet all we see it as is in a flashback. Like, we don't even know what caused it. I guess Luke was just nervous about the proposal. And yes, he was going through a lot with his grandmother basically dying at this point as well. But we don't even really know what caused him to go off the rails. He's yelling at Kristen, I just wanted you to be there for me. We see him running out of the room in the middle of the night with no clothes on. Like, what is going on? Can we get like a full story as to what is going on and not just this flashback? It was very strange, and I don't like how Bravo seemed to make it be this like big storyline in the trailer, and it was literally point 0.2 seconds in this episode. So make it make sense, guys. Enough with the clickbait. And they wake up, and him and Kristen seem to be on great terms. They're not fighting, nothing's wrong. So like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. But this is the day that we have all been waiting for, engagement day. And Zach is on top of everything. I mean, Luke is an absolute mess, but Zach is keeping him in his place and organizing everything. He got t-shirts made, he has decorations, and he has kept this secret so well. I'm not sure I would have been able to keep it like from literally everybody in the entire cast besides Nia and Danny. I guess Jasmine found out about it because she figured it out on her own. But Zach is doing the absolute most. He is such a great friend to have in your corner. Like, he planned the Brits takeover at Jax's. Now he's planning this entire engagement basically on his own. But leave it to Kristen to almost ruin it for herself, because she comes over. Zach has to scurry to close the suitcase and hide the t-shirts. And, she comes over. They're talking about what they're going to do that day. They're going to go fishing. Oh, I don't need to take a shower. You don't need to shower every day in Hawaii. No, like, I'm good. I'm going to get dirty because of all the fishies. And they're like, no, you need to shower. You need to get ready. She's like, no, I don't. I don't really want to shower. Like, I feel like I'm dressed fine. And everybody's like, no, take a goddamn shower. Like, I feel like I would feel the same way as Kristen. You're on vacation. You don't really need to, look all put together, especially if you're going on a fishing boat. But I guess she finally succumbed, took a shower, got ready, and she was glad she did. Her, Luke, Nia, and Danny go out on that fishing excursion. And I was literally laughing the entire time during this scene. Like, Luke is the most flustered I have ever seen any man. Like, he is, every move she makes, he's literally like freaking out, like whispering to Nia or like talking to Danny. Like, he's literally watching her like a hawk walk around this boat. Nia's like, come on, let's go take photos. Let's go take photos. Kristen's like, I don't want to take photos. It's hot. I look like shit. Like, I'm not in the mood to take photos. And Nia's like, well, we got to go take photos. There's good lighting. There's good lighting. Then she sits on top of the bag that the ring is on when Luke is trying to go get the ring for the proposal. I guess they are on a time crunch. They're counting down to sunset. I guess it's got to be at this perfect time. Kristen's like, why is everybody stressing about getting these perfect couple photos? She's like, I could give a shit less about these couple photos. But Nia is like, come on, the lighting's really good. Oh, can you come take pictures of Danny and I? So they finally get Kristen to the bow of the boat, right? Luke is able to go get the ring. And then the whole dolphin thing was just amazing planning. 10 out of 10 idea. Look, there's dolphins. And then they literally hoist Kristen to the front of the boat, like, look over there. Don't look over here. Look over there. She literally stands there for a solid like 5 minutes looking for dolphins, cannot see them because there are none. And then Luke gets down on one knee. She turns around and she is actually surprised, guys. I mean, a lot of times on reality TV, these things are so planned, so rehearsed. You can tell that this is not an actual surprise. Kristen was surprised. She was shocked. She did not see this coming. I was so happy for her in this moment. We have seen this girl go through so much. And with Luke being the number one guy in the group right now, he is so perfect for her. It was just amazing to see. It was amazing to see somebody like her finally get her happy ending that she deserves. Meanwhile, Zach is running all over the place at the hotel. He's trying to switch their rooms to the presidential suite, but Luke and Kristen have filled every single drawer in the hotel room. Like, how long have they even been there? They've been there less than 24 hours at this point, and they've completely unpacked into every drawer in their room. They're not making it easy for Zach, but Zach is still doing the most. He's still trying to make it perfect. He gets back to the suite. He has to tell Jesse because Luke and Kristen are now moving in with Jesse. And Jesse immediately like launches into planning mode. He's like, we have to get 5,000 white roses in here immediately. And Zach's confessional is so funny. Like, well, so I kind of thought that Jesse was broke, seeing as Michelle has been literally saying that the entire season. Guess he's just going to put this on the credit card. And we have Jesse calling, can we get 5,000 hibiscuses to the room? Like these people are probably, I don't know what they're thinking. They probably get this kind of request all the time, to be honest. But I kind of loved watching Jesse's like spring into action. He was so excited for her. I guess he is good friends with Kristen and Luke at this point. So it makes sense that he would be excited for her. But I loved that he was now in on it and that he kind of was helping Zach. So now that Zach has told Jesse, he now has to tell the rest of the group because they are meeting downstairs for a little, cookout. And then they also have the surprise in the hotel room. So he calls Brittany, right? Tells her that Kristen just got proposed to. And Brittany does seem a little bit butthurt. She seems a little bit left out, that she wasn't there on the boat. She says she's good friends with Kristen, but she truly seems happy for her. She kind of, brushes it under the rug. Meanwhile, we have Janet in the other room. So Jason overhears this news, goes and tells Janet. Janet's first thought, oh, let me make this all about me. Oh, so we're here for Kristen's engagement trip now. Oh, so this is going to be all about Kristen's engagement now. Like, what about us? Like, it's not about you. It is not about you. This moment is for Kristen. And whether she is your arch nemesis or not, just be happy for her. So she's like, oh, well, we're not going to go to dinner now. Like, I'm not going to sit across from Kristen when she just got engaged. Like, can you just be the bigger person for once in your life? Like, you mean to tell me I left my baby for the longest time that I have ever left them for Kristen's engagement trip? Like, no, this is actually the cash trip of the show that you're on. It's actually your job. So as much as you try to pretend it's actually all about Kristen, it's not. She talks to Zach. Zach really tries to encourage her to come to the dinner. She says no. Her and Jason are going to go do their own thing. And Jason is pissed, as would I be. He's like, okay, first of all, we have to skip this engagement dinner tonight, which he's friends with Luke. I'm sure he wants to be there and, celebrate with everybody. But not only that, Janet also wants to skip out on tomorrow altogether because it's still going to be about Kristen. She's like, I don't want to do anything tomorrow with them either. And Jason's like, well, I took off work to be on this trip. We are in Hawaii. And you mean to tell me now you and me, the wife that he secretly hates, has to go off and spend time alone now without the rest of the cast? Like, I don't know, Jason is not happy about this. And I hope it's just one of many times that he realizes the mistake he made by being with this woman. So they finally arrive back from the boat trip. Zach has everybody gathered in the presidential suite in their t-shirts. And it was just such a fun moment to see her get surprised again, being surrounded by all of her friends, her and Luke showing off the ring. And I'm happy that Janet wasn't there. Honestly, I feel like it would have taken away from the moment. I do think that Janet might have made the right decision to not be there in that moment. I definitely think she could have been downstairs at the little, stand around eating dinner area, whatever they were going to do outside. But I think in this intimate moment, it was better that they weren't there. And I'm just so happy for Kristen. I really feel like she's found a good guy in Luke, somebody who is not directly associated with this Valley Vanderpump Rules crew. I feel like anybody who has history here, who has history with this group, is going to be bad news. There's just, I don't know, there seems to be this like trickle down effect or like something that spreads amongst the men in this group. Literally every single person has gotten married and divorced or broken up with or cheated on or whatever. I really hope that doesn't happen to Kristen. I have very, very high hopes for her and Luke. And I'm excited because Janet, say it all you want, but I do think that next season is really going to be all about Kristen. I'm excited to see her new life. They have a beautiful daughter together. It's going to be so fun to actually watch them live this new life, settle into motherhood. Oh gosh, I'm just so happy for her, guys. And another reason I'm happy is that we only saw Jax for zero point 0.2 seconds during this episode. I gotta say, I think there is actually a lightness to these episodes in Hawaii. Once again, because Jax Taylor isn't on this trip. And whether that was his choice or production's choice, it was the right choice. I think this trip would have gone a completely different way if Jax was in the mix. There were rumors that he actually ends up showing up late to the trip. I don't really think that's going to happen, but we are almost to the end of the season, and I can't wait to see that showdown between Kristen and Janet on the boat next week. And there's a lot more to come too. The reunions I've heard are going to be so juicy. So make sure you stay tuned for our recaps on those and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more Bravo breaking news. See you guys next time.